What do your listeners like about your podcast? What could they do without? What do they want more of? And how will you know the answers to these questions? You've got to ask. In this video, we're talking about podcast audience surveys, why you need one, and how to create one. Welcome to the SquadCast channel. If you're new here, my name is Maribel Smith. I'm a video and podcast producer, and on this SquadCast channel, we help you level up your remote recordings so you can create better podcasts and video content from anywhere in the world. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that button so you never miss an episode. You can even click the bell if you're down. In this video, we're covering podcast surveys. We'll break down what you might want to hear from your listeners, what information you can ask of them, how to use the information they give you to improve your show, and what you can give them in return for their participation. A lot of creators struggle to hear from their audiences. You work hard week after week to make and promote your show, and sometimes all you get in return is a 4-star review on Apple Podcasts. It'd be nice to hear from your listeners more often, right? You might be curious about what they think of a new segment you just launched, or which of your interviews they like the most, or even just if they like the advertising partners that you've chosen. Surveys can also be a great way to understand how your listeners found you. If it's from another podcast, a podcast listening app, and an ad in the wild, it could be useful to know that information so that you can continue to improve on those strategies. So how do you do it? Here are 10 steps to guide you. 1. Audit your current calls to action. What do you ask of your listeners? Do you ask for ratings and reviews? Do you ask them to write in with questions? Do you ask them to message you on social media? Consider throwing all of that out the window for the next few episodes in favor of one very strong and pointed request: to fill out your survey. 2. Write some new copy and point them to your survey. 3. Choose a very simple URL for them to visit so that if they don't have time to check out the show notes, they can remember it. Something like yourwebsite.com/survey. 4. Mention the survey at the top of the show and at the end of the show. 5. Link to your survey in the show notes. Make it very obvious. 6. Change up your wording from episode to episode. It doesn't have to be drastically different, but making sure your listeners are a little thrown off is a great way to get them to pay attention to the words that you're saying. Here's an example of what this could sound like. Hey friends, we'd love to know what brought you to this YouTube channel. Was it by way of a YouTube search? Did a friend tell you about it? We'd love to know these things so that we can better serve you. Head to squadcast.fm/survey, side note, not a real URL right now, to tell us all about you. Then on the next episode, you can try this one out. Hey, we've got a survey going on and we want you to share your voice. The more we know about you and how you found this show, the better we can make this show for you. Head to squadcast.fm/survey, again, not a real URL, to let us know what's up. 7. Create that survey. This can be much simpler than you may be thinking. Go to Google Forms, name your survey, and type out a few questions. Here are some suggestions that you can use. Ask for their name, maybe their email. How did you find out about this podcast? Do you listen to other podcasts? If so, which ones? Where are you based? Would you consider supporting us on Patreon or via Apple Podcast subscriptions? How do you feel about the length of the show? What's your favorite part of the show? What's your least favorite part of the show? There's more where that came from. Want more question ideas? Let us know in the comments. 8. Once you've got your survey ready to go, you can embed it on your website or keep it as is in the Google form. Then start directing listeners to it via your podcast on social media, through your newsletter, or however else you communicate with your audience. 9. Having trouble getting people to respond to your survey? Offer them something. Maybe you can shell out for a gift card and make it a contest so that everyone who fills out the survey is entered for a chance to win. Maybe you can offer up a guesting opportunity. Maybe your listener would be incentivized to fill out the survey in exchange for a t-shirt. Think about what uniquely motivates your listeners and build the reward around that. And 10, evaluate. It may be hard to get a statistically significant response rate, but any feedback helps, right? Remember that each person who takes the time to fill out your survey cares about your podcast and wants to help you make it a great listening experience. So, what do you think of audience surveys? Have you tried them before? What are you hoping to learn from your audience? Let us know in the comments. And happy surveying!